$150 million in 5 years. That's buying a house to save the marriage. The Steelers can't get the offensive line right. They can't get quarterback right. They spend too much money on defense, defensive culture. 25th in rushing average, 25th in the NFL. So let's throw a Hail Mary to save our offense. What's ironic is the one position that the Steelers draft and develop exceedingly well on offense is wide receiver. They've been great at it for 20 years. Go back to Hines Ward. They always draft and develop wide receiver. So why spend $150 million on it? And the Steelers thinking they can solve their offensive issues, which have been awful, not only since Big Ben retired, but about the last 2 years of Big Ben, thinking you can solve your offense by adding another expensive, high-maintenance wide receiver is like thinking you can solve your car troubles by putting in some premium leather seating. Yeah, that ain't it, man. George Pickens and DK Metcalf? Okay, you know how A.J. Brown was reading a book on the sidelines? In Pittsburgh, they need a library card. I mean, these guys want the ball now. I mean, oh, yeah, there's another rumor out there with the Steelers. Aaron Rodgers is talking to him. Good hell. What are you trying to be? A rock band that trashes the hotel room? I said this last week. DK Metcalf with a very solid quarterback in Geno Smith. Geno's a very solid quarterback. I'll get to him later. He only accounted for 35 first down catches. Okay, that's half of Amon St. Brown. And the Steelers are not very solid at quarterback. They've been experimenting, it feels like, for the last 5 or 6 years. So I am not player hating. I'm situation hating. If you went to a team like DK Metcalf went to Kansas City, where they've kind of struggled. I mean, Rashee Rice is good but in trouble. Xavier Worthy, good but in trouble. They've had several misses. You go DK Metcalf to Kansas City in that strong culture offensively, you could talk me into it. How about Houston and C.J. Stroud? You could talk me into it. But Pittsburgh doesn't know offense, doesn't have a feel for it. They're not good at quarterback. They're not good on the offensive line. I mean, again, this is a team the last 2 seasons that has been Pittsburgh 31st in pass attempts, which has driven George Pickens crazy. So let's add another receiver that's expensive and is going to demand the football. I say it out loud. DK Metcalf said the 2 things he wanted, warm weather and a solid quarterback situation. Those boxes are left unchecked. So not all wide receiver acquisitions are the same. It's about feel. It's about fit. It's about, does your organization do offense well? And I'll go from that because I think this is a desperate move. Let's go from that to the Rams getting days and weeks of the year. Starting right now, you're going to see announcements, rumors, meetings, free agency in the NFL live in Los Angeles. It's The Herd, wherever you may be, however you may be listening. Thanks for making us part of your day. We have a great show today. Colin right, Colin wrong an hour from now, as is customary on Mondays. So, a little bit of fool's gold in free agency. Most of the great teams will re-sign their own players. You know, Kansas City re-signs Nick Bolton, terrific linebacker. Nobody wants to pay linebackers, but he's been so good for them that's a real smart move. That, to me, is what you want to do during this, week period. But what happens is a lot of swings by a lot of desperate teams, J-Mac, and I'm going to start the show with that. Today. There's an old adage. Struggling couples often have a baby to save a marriage, or they buy a house to save a marriage, and it doesn't work. The marriage was in trouble. DK Metcalf to the Steelers for Devontae Adams. Now, DK Metcalf is in his prime. Devontae Adams isn't. So I wouldn't like this move. No, it's different. I do like this move because of Sean McVay. The offensive culture. They've already got a number 1 in Puka Nacua. So if Devontae now is a 1A or a 2, it fits. This is very much, this move by the Rams, it's essentially a one-year deal. It's very similar to Jimmy Butler going to the Warriors. The Rams are lining up all their offensive pieces around Matt Stafford because the Rams feel like, hey, we've got 1 to 2 years of great Matt Stafford left. That's what the Warriors felt. We got a couple of years of Steph being great. Let's get him a legit 2. So Sean McVay knows offense. The Rams have a feel for offense. And they've got an incredible defense that is young and super cheap. So they're flexible. This is a totally different move. And that's why I wanted to juxtapose the Steelers' move, which feels like a desperate Hail Mary to solve an ailing offense, and the Rams' move, which feels like a very substantive 1, maybe 2-year deal to line up in an excellent offensive culture with Sean McVay and Matt Stafford. That's the difference. Remember, the Rams have said publicly, we're moving off Cooper Kupp. And now I don't know if Devontae is in his prime. I think he's probably just left the prime. He's definitely not twilight. So he's somewhere in between prime and twilight. But in the last 3 years, Davante Adams is tied for second in the NFL in touchdowns for wide receiver. Gardner Minshew, Aiden O'Connell, and Aaron Rodgers off an Achilles surgery. So this is a very good fit. In fact, if you look at the Rams, they made another receiver move this weekend that it's a tell. They're telling you what they're trying to do. They re-signed to a 1-year deal Tutu Atwell, who's been a little bit of a semi-bust. Why did they do that? And they even paid him $10 million for 1 year because they're telling you, this next year, we think we can win a Super Bowl. So why bring in a young receiver when we got Devontae, Puka, Tyler Higbee, the excellent tight end, probably a B-plus tight end, running back, O-line set. They re-signed their left tackle. They're going for the Super Bowl because the Rams and McVay are thinking in a snowstorm against the best team in the league on the road in Philly, we're at the 13-yard line looking to go in with a tying touchdown. PAT wins it, and we're going to the NFC Championship. So this is a classic example. DK Metcalf to a huge long-term deal to the Steelers feels desperate. Devontae Adams essentially on a 1-year deal to McVay and Stafford feels really smart. So don't confuse the two. You know, don't confuse the two. A lot of nice cars on the freeway. Some take an exit to a nice neighborhood where they can afford it. Some take an exit to an apartment where they can't. Don't confuse two people driving two nice cars. Like, did you need it? Is it smart? Is it thoughtful? Does it work for your budget? So this is what you get in the free agency period, and it's why I love it. In fact, there's a similar situation, which I'll get to, on Geno Smith. I thought it was time to move from Seattle. I think he's a really good fit with the Raiders because one organization's really good and feels like they've hit a ceiling, and the other one's a mess and needs stability. This week is not just about the players. There is no week in the NFL where you can really figure out who knows what they're doing in the front office and ownership and who doesn't. This is not about the players. Free agency week is about executives and owners. And you're going to see a lot of bad ones reach and a lot of good ones find fits. This is fit week, not free agent week. That's what it is. Steelers, let's throw a Hail Mary. We got no feel for it. Rams, I mean, we can get Devontae for 1 year. We got 2 great years of Stafford left. Totally different acquisition, totally different sensibility and mindset. So, J-Mac, we got so much stuff. We got, I had a LeBron theory about a week ago. Got a lot of feedback on that one. I've got another one. Sam Darnold looks like he's going to Seattle. I got my MVP vote in the NBA all settled up. Calling right, wrong next hour. And as you well know, you're betting Dayton and Creighton and Xavier games. You know March Madness is right around the corner.
I just fired on Furman tonight. You got to get in on that action.
Furman,
big game.